Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with JAYONBOXING, here with predictions for the Anthony Joshua vs. Francis Ngannou undercard. And as always, these are just my takes, of course. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. But before we get started, of course, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. It greatly is appreciated when you guys do that. Definitely helps out the channel. And a little bit of show info here. Of course, it will be headlined by Joshua versus Ngannou as mentioned, but the co-headlining bout will be a heavyweight clash between Joseph Parker versus Zhilei Zhang with no titles on the line. Also, we will have Rey Vargas defending his portion of the featherweight crown against Nick Ball, and Mark Chamberlain will be taking on Gavin GWYNNE in a lightweight clash, as well as Justin HUNI taking on Kevin LERENA in a heavyweight clash as well. All pretty solid, relatively close pick'em fights, so certainly a fun card. The main event, rightfully, is getting all the attention on this one. It's a big crossover attraction. You're naturally going to see a lot of people interested in that. But the undercard really isn't anything to scoff at. The co-featured bout, again, as mentioned, a pick'em heavyweight clash between former world titleist Joseph Parker and the once-beaten Zhilei Zhang in a damn good fight on paper. Parker might have a little bit more wear and tear, but of course the age of Zhang keeps it kind of hard to predict as well. And both have skills and some power mixed in, so it definitely could be a fun fight. Then you also have the featherweight clash, again for a title on the line, with Rey Vargas defending against Nick Ball. Again, another pick'em. In lightweight action, we'll also see Chamberlain, as mentioned, taking on GWYNNE in another solid fight. And then another close heavyweight clash between HUNI, and as mentioned, and Kevin LERENA. Again, just a legit solid card, so one that I thought kind of deserved its own video as opposed to just lumping it in with the main event, and here we are. So, without much more ado, let's break these fights down. Starting off with Parker versus Zhang, and we'll go with Parker here first. Parker has some decent pop, but he isn't a gigantic puncher, and Zhang seems to have a pretty decent beard on him anyway, so it doesn't feel like you're going to catch him with one big punch and end matters. It can happen, it's heavyweight boxing, but instead you'll want to implement volume, and that can be done by focusing on speed more than just your power shots. And having some variety with your output will be key. You want to throw those straight line shots when there are openings, but mixing in the overhand right as well as looping in a hook around the guard will serve you well. You just want to get there quickly and efficiently. You're not trying to waste motion here because Zhang is pretty quick. However, all that works out if you're taking more of that center ring and not looking to move and box all the time. When you move too much, you can't step into shots. You can't launch the overhand right with as much authority, and you get more tired as a big man using those reverse muscles. Instead, press Zhang back at times and step into your own work. You can get him moving back and possibly tiring if you're committing to fighting more from that position. This can be started, of course, with a jab and a consistent body attack in close. Zhang is the much older fighter, so make him feel his age by pushing him back. This does not mean that you can never move or never box in this ring. You'll have to pick and choose those moments as well, but for the most part, you want to find that center ring and keep it. Now, switching over to Zhang here, of course, the bread and butter for Zhang is the straight left hand. That should be pretty obvious. He throws it in such a straight line, no wasted motion, and with some conviction as well. It can definitely put some hurt on his opponents. So it's really about just making sure you have multiple ways to get the shot home and ways in which to set it up. You want to set that shot up by jabbing, of course, which should be, again, obvious, but using that jab in a multitude of ways can improve your odds. Double the jab at times, throw it to the body, change levels with it, and change the speed on the stick as well. Catching the timing of Parker's attack will also be important for when you shoot that shot and at what speed you're throwing it to then be able to set up that bigger left hand. And the jab will also help you push Parker backwards, which I also think will be helpful. Parker doesn't fight nearly as well backing away and loses a lot of his best strengths as he really can't step into the bigger overhand punches he's looking to throw, and naturally tires more using those reverse muscles as mentioned. What's more, this also helps your own potential stamina issues. While your wind issues seem to have gotten a bit better in your last few fights, you do have a history of fading at times, and what's more, you're 40 years old, and when you couple that all together, it's just something you want to avoid. You're not trying to test this tiring theory out. You want to be going forward and taxing your body a lot less. So set that left hand up with that jab and also use it to win the battle of the center ring so you can come forward and put a hurt on Parker. And in terms of my pick here, this one is a real pick'em for me, but I'm leaning towards the Chinese big man. I think it'll be tight in moments, especially early, but I think the more straight, precise punches of Zhang will begin to tell the tale of this fight as it wears on. In those middle frames, Zhang hurts Parker with the left hand and really begins to take over. Parker is dropped by the faster, accurate shots and stumbles to his feet, but the fight is waved off soon thereafter. Winner, Zhilei Zhang via late fight stoppage. And going to the co-featured bout of the evening, if you will. Again, you have Vargas versus Ball, and we will start with the champion here. For Vargas, Ball wants to get inside and let his bombs go. Vargas, with more reach and just a bit more length to his shots in general, you want to keep him on the outside and use that jab to do so. Have his shots fall short and set up your own work in the process. You can certainly stand and put some shots together as well. Just do it on your own terms when Ball is in the range you want him to be in, not on the inside where he has a better chance. Another way of getting that range correct and keeping Ball at bay is by moving laterally and making him chase. You aren't going to be a runner by any means. You just don't want to sometimes be overzealous with Ball, who is looking to get in that position. So you want to make him pay for the mistakes he's making. Circle to the sides and land those crosses as you escape. And this all helps with walking Ball into those bigger blows. Nick is going to keep coming forward. That's his style. That's his real chance of winning this fight. So use that to your advantage. Frustrate him from the outside. Move. Then, when he rushes in, line up that big right hand and create that double impact of him coming into the shot. You're the naturally bigger, longer man. That straight right hand should have a good bit of power on it. And if you're walking him into it at the same time, it's all the more effective. At best, you might hurt him and get him out of there. At worst, it's at least a blow that makes Ball think before simply rushing in and wins you some of that real estate you're looking for. Now, switching over to Ball, more than anything else, for Ball to be successful, he needs to close distance and do so in a bit of a hurry. Okay, now he can't recklessly rush in, but he can't waste time trying to win a boxing match from the outside. That's not going to happen. So this has to be done by getting on the inside and doing so with consistent jabs and by throwing in some feints and using some head movement to kind of get a read on what Vargas is doing so he knows in which way he can enter this kind of engagement. You're going to want to cut the ring off as well. The sooner you can corner Vargas and let your bigger shots go, the better chance you have of landing something meaningful and keeping the momentum. Once you're on the inside, be sure, of course, to attack that long torso of Vargas as well. It will be available and can help limit that movement he may look to implement and potentially drop his guard as well. And that will be vital, because once you get that guard dropping more consistently, you can start landing those bigger bombs up top, particularly the right hand. Vargas has been buzzed by that shot, especially when someone steps in with the blow, and that's exactly how you're looking to throw that punch. Lowering that guard gives you improved chances of making that land and making an impact. But you can't overdo it. Telegraphing that right hand and throwing it wide or from far too out, especially with the reach disadvantage, it just isn't going to work for you. It has to be set up. And that will mean cutting off the ring, jabbing your way inside, setting up that body attack, and stepping in with that big shot. Vargas is crafty enough to avoid any kind of single, simple shot. You'll need to mix it up the way you try and land it, over the top, jabbing it first, going to the body, whatever it will be, but mixing it up will definitely lead to more success with it. Now, in terms of my pick here, I've gone back and forth with this one, but I'm going with a younger, fresher Ball in this one. I think Vargas will look to move and make it more of his fight early on. However, I think the weight and Ball's pressure will eventually wear him down and allow the Brit to get inside and make it more of a war far too often that I think possibly favors Ball. Vargas will have moments and could walk him into something, but I don't think it'll be sustained and he will get hit a bit too clean too often. Ball lands big rights, varies his attack, and of course punishes the body and pushes the pace throughout, mostly overwhelming his Mexican counterpart. Winner, Nick Ball via close, but relatively fair unanimous decision. And in terms of the quick picks here, we have Mark Chamberlain taking on Gavin Gwynne in the lightweight clash as mentioned, and Mark has the straighter shots, carries more power, and has been tested as well. I think he walks the aggressive Gwynne into hard shots, and the left hook in particular might be a shot that puts him away, or at least in trouble in this fight. Once in trouble, I think Chamberlain finishes his man off and secures the solid domestic win. Winner, Mark Chamberlain via mid-fight stoppage. And of course, for the last fight here, we have Justice HUNI taking on Kevin Lerena in a heavyweight clash. And this one could be back and forth. Both have similar traits and have some speed, but not quite as much in the power department. They're pretty similar to each other in some ways, even build, so on and so forth. And it's heavyweight boxing, so they don't need much power anyway. I think they both could potentially land something meaningful, but for the most part, I think they pick their spots and stay on their feet. I think the maybe more technical and or straight line shots and overall work of HUNI creates enough separation on the cards to create the relatively close win. Again, could be wrong about this one, but I'm going with HUNI via unanimous decision. And of course, here are the betting odds here for Parker Zhang and Vargas Ball. I think pretty close odds. The whole fight card, or at least undercard rather, has pretty close odds, so you certainly have your pick of the litter as pertains to what you think wins in this particular fight. In my opinion, I think a really good bet here, I mean, you could go with whoever you want to go with in terms of the straight money line, but in terms of the over-under for Parker versus Zhang, it's set at 10.5. I think the under is very attractive to me personally. I could definitely see this fight not reaching the cards. Certainly something I would look at there, but in any event, these are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 16-5 with 9 exact, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below, of course, and be sure to check out all the social media here, comment, share, subscribe, and follow, all that good stuff there. And be sure to visit JAYONBOXING.com for schedule, results, betting odds, grades, rankings, and more. Of course, you can also check out the Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou pick, which I have left down in the description box as well, so check that out. And as always, until next time.